right, folks. Hope everybody's gotten a chance to get up, stretch, get a deep breath after the thrill ride that was our round 26 game between Rafi Stern and Joey Krafchick. But we have a new player in first place after that game, and it is probably the least surprising player ever. Two-time defending champion Jackson Smylie assuming the first place position. He'll be going first in this game against a bit of an underdog, but still a strong expert player in Alex Jaech. Definitely expecting a good matchup here, Matt.
Yeah, the big question mark is how much rust is there for Alex? He used to play a lot from the 2007 to 2014 window and kind of dropped away from Scrabble entirely. He was a strong player back then in the 17 and 1800 range. Stepped away for a while, it looks like, but has been playing recently again. We will see how strong he is, how much rust there is, or sometimes when players step away from the game, they come back stronger than ever before when they do make tournament reappearances. It seems like Alex is on something right now. 15 wins is great in this field, especially for a Class C player.
Yeah, definitely a very, very respectable performance. And again, with just a handful of games left, even a player at that record can go on a bit of a run. Remember, 31 games in the main event. Alex could finish 20 and 11. And if he gets enough of those wins against the other strong competitors like Jackson, he probably has some very minor mathematical chance of winning this event. And that's why these two players are paired right now. Jackson is going to have to fend off this challenge. And as the event winds its way closer to completion, he's going to be playing his fellow top competitors. And in any case, it is Jackson to go first. He's got a bunch of clunky tiles that don't mesh that well together, Matt, but also the blank.
Yeah, and he's got a very natural play here in Forum. This is going to be very high scoring for him. I'm honestly a little surprised it took Jackson a minute and a half to pull the trigger on this. It looked pretty straightforward, but Forum is indeed the play for Jackson. W blank. He'll either have an intermediate fishing play or may just reach in and draw a bingo immediately. We'll see. Alex's first rack is EGOOPTU. That's kind of yucky as well. Probably play off the P in some of those O's, a word like pogo or pout, likely coming from Alex, but yucky opening racks for both of these players.
Yeah, pogo seems pretty natural right here. Not a play you're thrilled with just because it opens up a fair amount of opportunities back to Jackson. A 6-letter word down to the triple could get hit with the X or any decent scoring tile that plays here. But you've got a lot of problems on the rack right now if you're Alex, between the duplicated O's, the G and P not meshing very well together as well, and throw the U into the mix. So solving a bunch of those problems at once by playing pogo, at least to my eye. Also getting 23 points, probably the best that he can do here. Seems pretty reasonable. But Jackson to his W blank with not the draw he wanted to see to get a quick bingo down.
Yeah, if you're looking to bingo, drawing JQ is generally not the best idea, but that's going to be interesting to watch Jackson try to play through. I was about to point out this placement of pogo. It leaves 3 points on the board, but is far more defensive, and I think this is a reasonable decision from Alex.
Yeah, I like that from him. This does a lot of things to mitigate the danger of the other positioning of pogo. You get all the same benefits of getting those clunky tiles off the rack. And isn't that funny, though? Pogo in this positioning, we were talking about how it's a little bit dangerous because of the X going down. Of course, Matt, wouldn't Alex draw the X after playing it in the safer spot?
Wow, Scrabble be like that sometimes. And this pogo is extra punished by the fact that now Jackson has Shook for 32, just dropping S and Q. S-U-Q. That's killer. That's now Jackson's standout option.
Yeah, looks good. 32 points. If Jackson wants to play cheese. It looks like he's considering that as well. I think I prefer your option, but maybe. Okay, there we go. It's just too many extra points. 8 extra points playing it here. And Matt, this board very difficult to maneuver on without an S in hand. If Alex doesn't have one, Jackson could easily get a nice opening on his next turn.
Now, these are the plays I hate making in games like this. If I'm Jackson, if I'm one of the top seeds and I'm playing someone from Class C, I don't want a game that comes down to who draws goodies. And this board now just so strong for whoever draws an S. If Alex draws the next two, Jackson could be stuck with some very frustrating decisions as Alex gets some easy ones. But Shuk was so much stronger than anything else. It's the kind of play you don't want to make against someone from the bottom quadrant. I'm sure Alex is a fine player, but you don't want games to come down to luck when you're the overdog here. Unfortunately, Jackson was backed into a corner and had no other choice.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Very natural play in response by Alex of just XU parallel to the P of Pogos. I want to point out an absolutely hilarious play that the computer engine likes from Alex's POV there. Instead of playing XU, the engine wants him to play tub for 5 points, setting up an enormous place for him to play hex. Practically speaking, that is never going to fly. A player of Jackson's caliber is just not going to let that stand. Very ambitious idea by the computer engine, but I much prefer Alex's play here, Matt.
Yeah, the computers are cute, but they are also sometimes wrong because in Scrabble, you're not playing against computers, you're playing against humans with brains who can snuff out your plans most of the time, especially in Division 1 like this. Jackson has a really hard turn here. It's exchanging, which it looks like he's about to do, playing Goji for 12, ending one short of the triple word is unappetizing, or playing MIM from the M, also just a terrible choice. So Jackson is only exchanging 3, which is interesting to me. I would have opted to change 5 there, get 2 extra shots at a blank and hold just R blank, or get extra shots at an S rather in a game where S's are huge. But Jackson had a different plan. Jackson exchanging 3 on that turn.
Yeah, leaving IMR. That's interesting to me because maybe he's thinking in this situation, is it possible that he's trying to draw something in this spot? If he did, then I'm not sure I would keep the M along with it. Maybe he's imagining that, am I going to get into a situation where I want to play MIM next turn? That can't be it either. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe he's thinking with MIR, if I draw an E, I'll get Murex as a simple bailout if I don't get a bingo. I don't know, Matt. Can you suss out any reasoning for the MIR blank keep on that exchange?
Not really, except that the sim also preferred keeping IMR blank by a point or so. Now, a sim really struggles on these boards where the rules are changed. In this game, AERT are not valuable tiles for you. In this game, S is the valuable tile. I don't know why Jackson held IMR there. I would have taken the opportunity to go digging in the bag, but he's a fantastic player. I'm sure he had a compelling reason for it. Alex has a really interesting turn here as well. He does have one of the S's that are so huge for this game. He has some plays that cash it in, but he also has this really fun play here of TETH. If the S is already extremely powerful, why not make it even more powerful? Set up S, and continue keeping these lines open. That is crushing a sim right now as well. I don't think Alex should burn the blank and play TETHS here or here.
Burn the S.
The S. Burn the S, rather. Yeah, I don't think he should burn the S. Here it comes. Is he going to play it, though? He is. Oh, the less fun option.
Yeah, it's very normal. Tacking it on gets you 9 more points, but I do think that the S has a little bit more value than usual. The axiom that we sometimes say is don't use the S unless you can get 8 or more points extra than you would compared to not using it. So I do feel like that roughly lines up with that. But just look at how difficult this board is to maneuver without it. Alex, meanwhile, just goes ahead and draws another one. So maybe no big deal after all. I do want to point out one thing, Matt. The engine did also like the idea of just playing the G right here, leaving his rack would have been EHLTTS. This doesn't look very good, but it combines with an A for stealth, an E for shtetl with 2 E's, an I for lithest, and a U for shuttle. Not to mention another S for shtetls with just 1 E. So a sneaky, crazy good bingo leave to be had there. That would have been a lot of fun to see as well.
Oh my God. And that devastates the board. Jackson has like no reasonable candidates if he doesn't have an S. That's so fascinating. Just 8 points. That could have been really cool. But Alex, if you know you're going to go ahead and draw another S, then of course you're going to cash it in on this turn. That's what he's opted to do here. And this is kind of that nightmare situation unfolding for Jackson. He plays Shook. The S's are huge, and Alex has now drawn 2 of them in a row. But Jackson probably going to be able to weather the storm with this blank. He's made a nice option here, Myri. He's also got Goiym, which I liked quite a bit. But Myri is a fine play from Jackson, too.
Yep, agree. Definitely some benefits there. I think a nice thing about it is that you open up a letter out in space that maybe is a really nice one with your blank. Normally, the Y is not going to give your opponent that much, but maybe if you draw just right, you can get a really snazzy blank bingo through this Y that scores very well. Not sure he actually has one here, but it seems like a letter. Oh, dynamite or dynamist. I guess no, that's no longer going to play after Bulgy. Nice job by Alex to block that off. But definitely some possibilities there. Mantids at a minimum still available for Jackson with forums here.
Mantids at a minimum is actually Mantids is the only choice. Mantids the only bingo Jackson has on this play after Bulgy comes down and obstructs this board. How fortunate for Jackson that without the S, he's actually going to be able to take that spot away. Alex could threaten big plays there very soon, but Jackson's drawn a big bingo and it fits.
Pulling the trigger very fast, a hallmark of Jackson Smylie's play, not only so accurate, but also so fast, leaving himself plenty of time for the late game where he can burn it on those extremely complicated positions should they arise. Definitely nicely done by him to quickly realize I'm probably not going to have very much available here, so I might as well move on, play Mantids. It's almost assured to be correct. And Matt, we know it is his best move.
Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere else a bingo is even really going to go on the board, or if it does, it's going to play here for a sad score or here for a sad score. Don't even look. Like, you could ask Jackson if he had a bingo from the R, and he wouldn't be able to tell you the answer because he never even looked there. As soon as you see this one, it's the highest scoring option, and you do it. Alex has another, once you see this one, you just do it kind of situation, just JOT. So solid. You don't want to keep the 4 consonants, but you've got to.
Yep, makes sense. And I have to say, pretty impressed by Alex's play so far. He's not been bothered by the fact that it's a slightly closed board, a more difficult board to play on. Maybe that's the sort of board that Alex likes best. And he's not bothered by the fact that he's playing the 2-time defending champion, Jackson Smylie. He's played quite accurately. It was very, very minor. If we were going to quibble with Teths, I hesitate to call that a mistake, but otherwise, nicely played game so far by Alex. He is right behind him on the scoreboard. As soon as that updates for you guys, I have it coming through. 152 to 137, neck and neck.
Neck and neck, that's what we like to see. But Alex has reached in and found S's 3 and 4, though if you look at the board, this went from S's are super important to S's are darn near useless for me in just a matter of a couple turns. We saw this happen earlier today. It's happened again here. So finding the S's doesn't really matter in this situation. He can set them up for sure, but that's a crazy swing in this game.
It's actually a great point. The S is formerly so powerful with the forums and Sook's hook. Wow, can't really draw an S all of a sudden. There we go. I got it back, folks. The S hooks right there were so powerful. Now both of those off the board. And Matt, these right angles here, something that as you play more and more Scrabble, you're more attuned when those right angles hit the board in some direction or other, usually means that big swaths of the board are not there. Oh no, you bailed on me. I was about to draw a yellow face around your orange smiley. But yes, lower right quadrant of the board is quite inaccessible to either player right now, which frankly, I feel like Jackson loves that going up against a player that at least by rating, he should feel like he's a favorite against.
So we put a Smylie in yellow. I can't pass up the opportunity to tell you that Jackson Smiley's new EP, or Jaech
Yes.
Smylie, I should say is his stage name, was just released. He released an EP called Seeing Yellow. Jackson is an extremely talented musician, as I learned from listening to that once. So if we're going to plug Jeff, also got to plug Jackson or Jaech Smylie and his album EP, Seeing Yellow. You can find it on everything. Check that one out as well.
Yeah, he gave me some links. Let me go find it. I just kept forgetting. Oh, no, he didn't give me links. He just told me everything you just said. So, yeah, very talented guy. Look at him also drawing cathode there. Doesn't fit on the board right now, but I wonder if a place will appear for it. But yeah, to your point, Matt, the S is not so good. The Y a little bit better. You could imagine maybe a play like into this B ending in a Y. That might be a nice idea to set up an S hook. Buys being a valid word could be something we see there. Also, just SYN is kind of appealing for similar reasons. Not sure if that's where he's going to go on this move. I still got to give Jackson his points for D. Do you see anything, Matt, that you like for Alex?
I would have played Liney or Inlay like 3 minutes ago on this turn if I were Alex. That just feels so awesome. Score 30 points, get rid of some yucky stuff, and keep SS blank when I've got the BYS hook available. Very natural play, very awesome play. As for which one, Liney versus Inlay, I could sit here all day. Sin is another really cool option. The leave is slightly inferior, and the board shape not quite as strong for your tiles, but this is good and defensive and stops Jackson from hitting some big spots back. This is reasonable.
Yeah, it is reasonable if you consider that a lot of the plays that end in Y do open a triple, whereas this does not. It keeps things much tighter. If you're worried that Jackson is holding something strong, which you may be more than usual after a play like D, perhaps opening the triple is not a risk that Alex is willing to take. So I do feel like that impulse is quite justified on his part. Over to Jackson, though, he is going to be able to find a way to generate a very nice score. And it looks like, Matt, he's figured that way out.
Yeah, so here we're going to hit one Hebrew letter with another Hebrew letter, T-E-T-H, a Hebrew letter, K-H-E-T-H, another one. This one much higher scoring and doesn't burn an S. Great play from Jackson. Keth is 40. Standout option from him.
It's a great play. Not that easy to spot either, because for me, I'm certainly looking at this T first. I'm imagining what can I play up there. Alex now, though, has a very, very natural play that he set up very quickly. Look how quickly Alex is playing and confidently as well, making really no major mistake whatsoever on a tricky board. But this play seems like just what the doctor ordered, on doubling one of his two eyes, leaving a good bingo leave with this SI combination. You could see bingos starting with S, bingos starting with I, either of those playing in this area of the board. So Alex still very alive here to get the next bingo down, despite the fact that Jackson has the blank on his rack here. And there it is, Matt. It looks like Alex is going to be the one potentially bingoing first.
Wow. Very interesting swings in this game for sure. Oh man, what does Jackson do here? This is yucky. Oh, that's what Jackson does. Okay, this is not yucky at all. This is just fine. Jackson has 29 points on the board.
Yeah, so
right
fast. He finds it. Nicely spotted. I also, Matt, was like, what does he do here? Oh, yeah, he's playing that for 30, 29, in fact. But look at this. Alex is about to bingo, and a lot is going to hinge here on the next draws of both players. Actually, Alex even has a bingo through this tee. I haven't even really been looking in this area for whatever reason. But what do you think? Sterical through that tee or scalier in the normal spot here? 6 more points on offer right here, but a significantly more open board.
Oh my God, I would take the points and get triple done. Sterical gives back a triple to Jackson. Alex can't know that. I would take the points here. The game is too close. You need to keep the board open. And he's found it. He's going to get hit back so hard. Right play, wrong situation for Alex. Jackson's going to play Aerolite immediately. Oh my goodness.
Very, very temporary 32-point lead incoming here for Alex. 122 points on offer, and look at how fast Jackson spots it. No surprise. 122 looks like a little bit of a grin on Alex's face. What can you do? I totally agree that the extra points were worth taking in such a close game. I don't think you have that much reason anymore to assume after Keth and Oda that Jackson is all that strong. I totally agree, Matt. Right play, tough outcome.
Triples growing on trees for Jackson Smylie in this tournament. We saw him hit the beautiful area ways through a W to break Rafi's heart yesterday, and now we're seeing him drop the much more pedestrian Aerolite. 2 triples in 2 days on stream from Jackson, your content king, delivering once again. Alex now with an uphill climb, down 90 and an unwieldy rack. This one spiraled out of hand very quickly after that sequence.
Yeah, it's it's crazy, right? You were just talking about Jackson no longer than a week ago was slogging through the Scrabble Players Championship, struggling to stay above 500. But we know what an incredible player he is. Anytime we watch him compete, it's just a treat to see how precise and how creative he can be. So just get him in front of the Word Cup banner and just watch him go, playing triples, playing incredible Scrabble, and putting himself in great position with just a few rounds to go. Matt, talk a little bit about winning an event like this 3 years running, what that means to us in this community.
It's unheard of. Like, everybody knows at any major Scrabble tournament where there are multiple players over 1900 that you're just percentage points to win. You know, there are so many talented people. Whoever runs hot is going to win the thing. We've seen reigns of dominance like this from one player, and I'm going to say his name because that's the caliber of unprecedented this is. The man, the myth, the legend, the Nigel Richards is about the only one who wins massive tournaments like this at a clip that successful, that high. That it doesn't happen, and it might happen here.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that really that is the only player that I can also think of capable of doing something like that. These Word Cups have become every bit as difficult to win as any event that's around here. You know, just look no further at the Collins division this year, with a whole slew of players that actually were not in attendance last week. You've got Wellington Jigare, Jesse Day, Dave Wiegand, players who are just astounding. Our current top player in the field, Ed Akaro, Nigerian Grandmaster player. The fields are absolutely stacked in both divisions. And yeah, the idea of winning 3 in a row is quite the story if Jackson can pull it off, but he still has a ways to go. He's definitely in control in this game, but it's round 27. We've got one more round after this today to finish out, and then 3 more tomorrow that will decide everything, including the $10,000 first place prize in both the top divisions.
Man, I was hoping we'd have a runaway in one lexicon to make the decision easier about what to show. Jackson will probably go a game up if Rafi doesn't win his last game today, but both divisions have such talented players at the top, and both are going to be up for grabs tomorrow. There's so much money too at these WIGPO events, thanks to the generous donations of John Shreve. I think he just drops like what 50,000 or 100,000 every year to buff up prize funds at WIGPO tournament. Huge money at stake. Nobody plays Scrabble for the money, but it really does help draw some of the best players to an event. That's a really cool thing.
Yeah, a lot of intrinsic motivation in Scrabble. A lot of us, of course, pretty much everybody in this community loves the game. Does it hurt to have a really great source of extra prize money, extra investment coming into the game? It sure doesn't. I think that's definitely a motivator. Certainly for players at this level. Would you travel halfway across the world if you're a great Nigerian player for a chance at winning $10,000 at the World Cup? Yeah, I think I might. And we've seen that in the case of Wellington Jigare, Edakaro, and Nisikak at team, all of whom have been in and around the top 5 in the standings in the Collins division for quite a while. So anyway, back to this game. Alex thinking hard all of a sudden. He must have felt like he was in decent shape after his bingo. Now he's back to being pretty far down. A couple people have pointed out maybe visor into the R of Aerolite seems like a decent option. He does need to get rid of that Z if he wants to bingo at some point in the near future. His odds are not that terrible. This is a pretty good sevens lane, but Jackson also potentially in a tough position with all those vowels, Matt, to do very much about it on his next turn.
Yeah, and there's many more vowels to come as well. We look at the unseen pool, and there's 15 vowels to 13 consonants. Alex has to be thinking, how did I find such an unwieldy rack there? He's got a cool option lined up of Zinco. I think that does a great job of keeping this line open as well as these 2 lines down here. It'd be tough for Jackson to obstruct everything, but he's going to go even more aggressive, realizing his odds are long. He's going to open a triple-triple on the right side with the play of Spiv, holding the synergistic CZNO combination. This is interesting.
It's definitely aggressive. I think Jackson is going to answer this very, very fast with 5, which does pretty much everything he would want, undoubling his I's and E's and getting rid of his most clunky tile, a tile, Matt, that you were saying you hate earlier in the broadcast. Down goes the play of 5 for 33 points very quickly. Pretty standard response by Jackson.
Man, that was a dream come true. Jackson had an incredibly difficult turn. He was probably going to end up playing FUCI and holding his nose and just bailed out by that play of Spiv. Sometimes you have to have great timing in Scrabble. That's an instance of great timing, and that's a pretty cool pull from Jackson. I don't think he threatens Ludiolan, but there's some stuff that he might have.
Yeah, I guess I don't think it's likely that Alex is going to give him any letter that he needs here. But yeah, certainly Jackson a little bit closer than he was before to good rack balance, and maybe he'll figure out a way to leave himself something strong and land that knockout punch. Not that he needs it. He's up by over 100. All Jackson really needs is for Alex not to bingo again, and he's going to win this game in pretty much every case. So on the other hand, Alex realizing the reverse is true, I have to bingo. Maybe now is the time to play Zinco, Matt, which he clearly saw last turn as well.
Yeah, Zinco makes a lot of sense. Or maybe Vinca in the same spot and hope that you can hit just a massive play with your Z next turn. I don't even see something that would fit here, but maybe hit a Z play first and then bingo. Zinco gets you in range a lot faster, though. I think this is reasonable.
Yeah, agree. I hesitate to call it a bad thing anymore that Alex's winning chances in this game are probably into that low single digits area. If anything, that's a gargantuan amount of winning chances given some of the comebacks that we've seen on the stream so far. But I would say that Jackson Smylie in particular feels so ironclad with leads like this. I really feel like a misstep from him would be another level of shocking to me and probably all of us, Matt.
Yeah, Jackson is going to do this one right more than most people out there. This is a tough situation to be in. But Alex, with his win percentage looking very, very slim, must win this game if I've learned anything from past events.
Yeah, let's see what Jackson might do. There's just looking at the unseen tiles, they don't really give me a read one way or another. I guess it's kind of interesting that there are 10 vowels and 8 consonants. That might lead me to feel like I can burn through my vowels here a little bit more aggressively if I need to. Maybe, yeah, look at that play of Alunite right here. This actually looks fantastic, Matt, to burn through a bunch of tiles, leave one consonant, take out this really flexible sevens lane and replace it with a much more finicky one requiring very precise overlaps.
Man, you just took all the things I was going to say and then you said them. It was so yeah, just that. What Will said is correct. An Alunite's a great play. I like it.
All right. We'll be here all afternoon, folks. Yeah. And I don't think that's a natural play at all either. I feel like normally a less experienced player would say, "Oh, I got good bingo tiles. Maybe I have a way of playing off my one of my L's and my U. Maybe I'll play something like Latu, right? Maybe this is the idea. 13 points, leaves Line. That's a great leave. I'm going to bingo a lot next turn. But what does it matter if you bingo a lot next turn? You just need to get to the end of the game and make sure that you have more points than Alex when that time arises. And Alunite gets you there a little bit faster, scores 5 more points, leaves just a consonant. So many nice things about it. All I'm saying is I might not even have generated that as a choice here.
What you have to think, if you're Rafi Stern, what is the worst thing that can possibly happen, right? If you're Jackson Smylie, what is the worst thing that can possibly happen? Well, in this situation, even one bingo from Alex is probably not enough, but 2 definitely would be. One other sneaky nice thing about Alunite is if you look at the pacing in this game, 18 unseen tiles from Jackson, 11 in the bag. If I play 5 or 6 tiles here, Alex is not going to draw 7 fresh tiles out of the bag if he bingos next turn. That's another reason you want to play Alunite here. Even if Alex bingos, he can't bingo twice, and you should win the game.
Yeah, what a fantastic point. Didn't add that into the list of benefits for Alunite, but that's definitely up there. Want to be racing to the end of the game, not just to get it over with faster, but to prevent those 2 bingo scenarios, which, although unlikely, it's not technically impossible. There's definitely space. I don't think a bingo is going to have that curvature to it, but a bingo here and a bingo here is definitely possible. So, yeah. Anyway, Leighton is going to be the play. This looks kind of weird to me, Matt. Why leave UIL into this vowel heavy pool?
There's no more U's to draw and only one I left to be drawn, but that feels strange to me. I don't know. I don't know what that was, but it feels bad. At least at first glance. Jackson's really smart. Maybe we'll catch something in a post-mortem on this one, but that feels off.
One thing to consider is Alunite going right here. Does leave a pretty easy opportunity to play something nice to the triple. Maybe Jackson is thinking to himself, if I play Alunite for 18 and Alex has something good starting with a W like wave going into this triple, now I've lost out on that exchange by a fair number of points. And I've allowed Alex to set up, I should say, a lane that's going to be kind of annoying to block, while also obstructing all the other stuff that's open on the board in these lanes. So maybe that's some of the thinking. Um, it makes sense on that basis, but you do expose yourself to some tough draws. And yeah, let's see what Alex does here with not the type of rack that Jackson's going to be very afraid of.
No, yeah, nobody's home, or nobody's even close to home for Alex. That house is condemned at this point. He's just going to roll over and lose. Drawing AAW was not what he was looking to do last turn. With 7 in the bag, I'm trying to think, is there anything he could maybe throw out as a prayer? I don't even see that. He's just kind of sunk.
Yeah, what to do here? I guess for me, the only way to, is being pointed out, can you just play wave into this E? That doesn't really feel like it accomplishes a ton. I guess you can play Avian. The nice thing about playing Avian up here is at least it scores 27 points, which is not that bad. You're trailing by not quite 90. Looks like Alex has set up the letters for Avian on his rack, which would be a pretty nice play by him to grab some points. You don't love keeping the W on your rack. Oh, instead, he's gone with Awe in the corner. Maybe he has a very specific draw that he's hoping for with the rest of his tiles. But yeah, as Matt said, I don't know if his chances are very good at this point.
No, yeah, you're just praying for like the perfect draw in the perfect spot. And I was going to say, like, a G could make things interesting, but I don't think this one's anybody's home here.
Yeah, I think
no,
so.
Yeah, nobody for the eye anywhere. Yeah.
But it's funny, Jackson's tiles are so poor here that I think he has to be at least a little concerned about proceeding with caution here. He should be up by enough for it to be just fine, but the fact that he really isn't going to be able to score any more than, I don't know, in the like mid-teens to maybe he can get 20 points here if he's lucky by playing something like ARE right here. That gets you 20, but that still feels a little too close for comfort to me in a game where I'd love to just know for sure that no matter what Alex does, I can't lose. I'm not 100% sure Jackson's there yet.
Yeah, there are a lot of possible bingos that Alex could threaten. It looks like nearly all of them play here, but stuff like Bravoed, Braving, Gravita, Dogvane, Deeving, Boinged, Beating, Breading. Like, there's a lot of stuff that could be had. But I think what Jackson is more concerned about is, okay, I can probably block this line, but what exists in this line that I need to be worried about? If I block this line and empty the bag, I'll lose to a bingo here. Otherwise, I can probably outrun it. I think we're going to end up seeing Jackson settle on a 4-tile play to leave 1 in the bag and avoid that nightmarish out bingo here. And I think he's going to leave 1 in the bag to avoid giving Alex any opportunity to set up more space. I thought we might see LIEU, but I think Jackson feels like this will score enough that even if he has the bingo, I'll hold on and win the game. And I think he's right in that analysis.
Yeah, it's cool because it scores not that great, but 14 points is actually a pretty decent score for him in that situation. And the thing I like best about it is that, let's say Alex bingos now here, or even through the eye of Spiv, which you pointed out, this would be the really dangerous spot. Well, Jackson might end up winning some end games just by playing into this triple with something good there. So opening the triple shouldn't give Alex anything new that's that scary, but it might give Jackson a pathway to some pretty good end game plays if he needs them. So could be something he's thinking about there. either way, we can see that I'm not even sure with one in the bag, even if Alex fishes off one of his tiles to try to draw something, Jackson is either going to be able to block it or just outscore whatever Alex draws.
Yeah, Jackson's in a great place here. And Alex, I don't see any Hail Mary. He can look at the different tiles in the bag. We know that an E is in the bag. There's nothing. There's nothing he could have. So this one seems largely done. And of course, even if he does fish and set something up, Jackson's just going to block it. Jackson will have tracked it right. This one's done.
So yeah, what to do if you're Alex? Maybe you just try to figure out a tile to play and hope that one of the most accomplished players in the field, the top rated player in the field, and the two-time defending champion misses your out bingo and fails to proceed correctly in the end game. That seems a little bit too quixotic of a quest for me. So yeah, if I'm in Alex's shoes here, I'm probably just trying to figure out what is the best way to get to the end of this game. Maybe I'm literally playing something like veg here. I guess I would try to win it somehow, even if it's Jackson. He's a human being. He could make a mistake. Maybe I'll try to fish something and hope. But what do you think, Matt? Would you still be going for it here?
Absolutely not. There's no chance at all. I mean, even if I make a little fish and create another line and draw something like Vagrant, like which doesn't even exist and isn't even possible. But even if I make a little opening and bingo here next turn and Jackson magically doesn't block somehow, like I'm still going to lose because Jackson has so many points up here that it won't catch up. So why fish for a bingo at the end of the game? If it's not going to win it for you, just play the end game and score points. I think it's roll overtime. I'm not seeing the Hail Mary out there for him.
Yeah, I guess I would play Vex and just hope that I get something like, I don't even know. What could I even get? Probably nothing that actually plays, is it? Yeah. Maybe you need to try to draw something that actually fits. I see chats talking about maybe drawing into Gravida. So fishing the N somewhere, trying to draw the D, then at least you threaten something. But all right, there is the suggestion of Vex. Energia doesn't actually fit anywhere if he draws an E, which is what's coming. Does this actually do anything useful for him here?
I was like, you need to figure out what the fish is going to hit before you make the fish. I think there might have been something that he could have hit, but even if you draw the bingo, it's not going to play after Vex. Jackson's not going to open it up for you. This isn't D3. And even D3 players don't do that because they're smart. I don't know. But take the shot, I suppose, while you're on the stream. Try to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been guilty of that, making plays and basically saying to the tile bag, surprise me, give me something I am not seeing right now. When I have no better ideas, sometimes I'll fall back on that. But yeah, either way, even a more carefully constructed fish was not going to yield results. And double up top is going to be Jackson's play. Looks pretty good to me. Note that a normally nice play of libido is out of the question here. Oops, as the board spins. Libido in this spot out of the question because Energia goes down in response. So good job, Jackson, for pivoting away from that.
Yep, good job, Jackson. Not going to concede the out bingo in this one. Double is going to do it just fine for that. I think maybe he was looking, or Alex was looking for Niagara last turn. If you fish the V and draw another A, Niagara plays there. So there's at least something that
there you go.
Hit, but Energy unplayable on this spot.
Got it. Makes sense. So, yeah. Wow, Alex, I didn't even notice with the time. He's been playing in a very, unrushed fashion, managing his time very well. He actually played quite quickly in the early going in some difficult positions that I think he played well. So he had plenty of time to spend now and not be rushed. And in fact, he's made his best endgame play here as well. So good job as Jackson responds with his own best play And another big win for Jackson as he continues that incredible quest. But just a quick note that Rafi Stern has rebounded from that tough loss in round 26 with a big win against Zach Ansel, moving to 20-7 as well to keep pace with Jackson. Maybe we'll cut to the board now.
Very kind of like hype. Yeah. I kind of lost my mind in this turn, and I forgot how to anagram, but also like it was oddly tough. But there's at ILU, there's just like a lot of like very specific ways that you could come back. I assumed you were like going for as well, like waiver things there, but I was trying to block that while preserving good timing. You were pretty close to being I guess.
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, I had we played that. I had 3 A's and a V and a W.
When you played.
When you played this.
Oh, okay.
So I played that.
Okay. So it was just forced.
Yeah. I mean, I fished the V at the end. If the A was in the bag and you dropped it, paying attention or something, you could have Niagara.
Right. It's good to go for those. Like 1 in 100 times I do drop dead. Happened before. Yeah, when you start laying this down, I'm like, you're playing Sterico. So I was waiting for the L. I was like, fuck. Sorry, man.
Just happens sometimes.
Yeah. So doing pretty well. Yeah, Volgy did. Do you know Jaech?
Yeah.
I was considering just F as a setup, but like there's 2 C's out, and you play there anyways a lot. Like, it's not really
I was gonna have to play like Risk or something. I had like 3 keys the whole game. One of them was the last in the bag.
Ah, shit. Calcinippus.
Not much happening there. Sometimes the best player in the field just draws both blanks on you and beats you. But Alex is definitely underrated. Is my big takeaway from that one. That was not a 1700 caliber game. That was well played by him. Jackson just had all the stuff and crushed him.
I agree. I was very impressed by Alex's play there. Pretty much any move that felt complicated, I was very happy with the choice that he made. Not all of those moves were easy either. So really the game boiling down to Sterical versus Scalier, and I just can't fault him for taking the points there. You got to hope for a little bit of luck. You got to push for, what's going to happen after Sterical a lot of the time is maybe Jackson has something big just like that, but some of the time you're up against somebody who's really, really strong. One more good draw for you there in that situation, and you can seize command of the game against a super strong player. I actually like that choice. I know it didn't work out for Alex, but apart from that, I don't think anybody could quibble with his play too much.
Yeah, solid game from a solid player. No surprise that he's up near the top of this if that's how he's been playing all tournament. But Jackson, an unstoppable train. Jackson's so hard to beat regularly, but when he draws both blanks, it's almost impossible.
So we do have one more round coming your way today until the conclusion of day 4 from the Word Cup. But just looking at the standings, Jackson and Rafi are in first and second in that order. Jackson with a slight lead in the spread tiebreaker, cumulative margin of victory over Rafi Stern. But if Sam Hollington in third place were to lose his game to Laurie Cohen, that's still pending, those two players, Jackson and Rafi, would be 3 games up from any other player in the field with only 4 games to go, which is pretty impressive. And that increases the odds of one of those 2 players winning, Matt, Rafi or Jackson, to something pretty high.
Yeah, man, this is going to be interesting to watch. I'm glad I don't have to do the pairings for next round to see if we're going to put Jackson and Rafi in a playoff already, or if we'll let other contenders try. But whatever happens, it's going to be fun to watch unfold.
Yeah, for sure. So again, this late in the tournament, we're not going to know the next round's pairings until all the previous rounds games are complete. That way, the directors of the tournament can build the most accurate pairings possible to give everybody that deserves it a chance to control their own destiny. So we do still have a number of games in the WoW division left to complete. So what we're going to do, cut to break right now, figure out what are the matchups in our final round of the day, round 28, and then come back. Not sure if Jackson's giving us a little wave here, but he may well be paired up with not sure who in round 28 at the 2024 World Cup.